Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
And it's just been kind of a wild ride going from food stamps to Millionaire by 34 and just being able to really have this business set up in a way where, we're putting our kids first.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on personal growth, visibility, and profit for women entrepreneurs. If you're wanting to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice in business, you're in the right place. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Marta Spirk, and I'm your host, empowerment coach, visibility and marketing expert, and all things motivation extraordinaire. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode. Hi, Rachel. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yay. So quick background of how I connected with Rachel. I was actually on her podcast not too long ago. We had a phenomenal conversation, but we connected earlier in the year. When was that? It was like February, March, something.
I have zero sense of time right now. I'm like,
this year has gone by so fast. When does it not go by fast? But I was a part of one of your summits that you did this year, and it was so fun. And I got to see a little bit more about your work. I realized you are connected with Stu McLaren, who is an amazing inspiration and a mentor of mine as well. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm glad that we're in each other's worlds. And I'm excited to learn more about your story and all the amazing good things that you're doing in the world. So tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Rachel Ngom, and I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs generate more income and create just more passive income in their lives so they can have a great business and have a great life too. It doesn't have to be either or.
Right. I love that so much. And it's been great to be on your podcast because now I have a better sense of who you are too, because we talk so much about personalities. And I realize we are a lot alike.
We
Our
are.
husbands are a lot alike.
Yes.
Apparently. But I would love to hear more how this came to be, because I know having the time freedom and having time for your family is super important for you, and not just working all the time. And that's at times the assumption that we get in the entrepreneurial world, especially online, that we have to be on all the time, but what we do with our lives.
Yeah. So, I mean, I got my master's in social work, and the whole plan was to work for a nonprofit. But I couldn't find a job even with my master's. So we ended up, on food stamps, negative $400 in our checking account. And I became an accidental entrepreneur. I was a part of a network marketing company at the time. And I was like, I saw other people having success. And I was like, if they could do it, I could do it too, like no big deal. I failed for a while, and then I kind of started to figure it out and created a 6-figure business with that company. The company, and when I was working that business, I was like hustling, grinding, working 24/7, burnt out really bad, gained 30 pounds, like got adrenal fatigue, felt like a terrible mom. Was sick all the time. That was bad. And then that company restructured. My income was cut in half. And that's when I figured out, like, I need to do my own thing. Like, I wasn't really in control in that network marketing company. So I started this business in August of 2017. We have since then, we've served like 7,000 students.
Wow.
We've lived in France. We started businesses in Senegal. We got a farm here, a horse property. And it's just been kind of a wild ride going from food stamps to Millionaire by 34, and just being able to really have this business set up in a way where, we're putting our kids first. And I was able to take my son TJ to France last month because Ed Sheeran had a concert in Paris. So it's like, why not? Let's go to France and have that life that anything is possible, really.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. And I love hearing more about the background, because I think there's a lot of us, and I am in the group of starting with network marketing, because as moms, it seemed like such a no-brainer, right? I can do stuff from my phone. But the dark side of that I think more is coming out these days.
The dark side of network marketing.
Yeah, the dark side. Is that the promise of, send a couple messages while you're changing diapers and you're going to make a lot of money. And it's like,
you do have to put in a lot of work. Not going to lie. Like, you'll work hard, and especially for, you know, our personality style, who are significance, hustle driven. We want like the shiny object of the recognition and all that stuff. Like, we'll do anything to be able to get that. So it's like the next rank, the next thing, the next shiny object. So that was not a healthy place for me.
No, I can so resonate. And that was one of the reasons why I decided to start my own thing. And it started actually with the podcast of being like, how can I start talking about something else and figuring out what it is that I wanted to do? And I would love to hear from you, like what, once you, that transition period, because when we just, you know, brush over, it's like, then I started this other thing and then it went amazing. And that's what people see. And they're like, okay, so it's going to be like that for me too. You know?
Yeah. So how it went, like I actually was using Pinterest to generate leads for network marketing. And I started teaching people in my network marketing company how I was using Pinterest. And so when it came time for me to start this business, I had no idea what I was going to do, because I was like, oh, I'm pretty good at Instagram and Facebook. Like I had social media pretty dialed in, right? And so that's when I hired a business coach, because I was like, I don't know what to do. I need some help here. And she was like, Pinterest is your thing. Let's do Pinterest. Cool. And so otherwise I wouldn't have known what the heck to do, honestly. So like having direction when I first started, that was key. And then I was able to take off, and it kind of went crazy.
Amazing. So you started off with helping people with social media, and then
I niched down to Pinterest like right away when I started this business. It was Pinterest was my thing.
Amazing. Yeah. And that's also, I feel like in many ways, helping people not depend so much on the hustle that I think network marketing and even other business coaches out there teach people, that you have to be in those two social media platforms, while Pinterest is a little bit less high touch of I need to be there all the time, because it's kind of doing the work for you. Can you share more about like the Pinterest world? Because I think many people are interested, but they have no idea how it works and how.
So like the goal of Pinterest, it's a search engine. And so search engine platforms, those are what I like to call like more passive platforms. So like a podcast, YouTube, Pinterest, Google. These are the platforms I highly suggest that you are on. Understand search engines, use Pinterest. And the whole goal of Pinterest is to build your email list. Your email list is what gives you freedom, right? Because you don't control Instagram, you don't control Facebook. Like I know my mom's account got hacked. Like you don't control anything that goes on there. So you need to build your business on something that you own and control. And with Pinterest, it's like you can schedule out your stuff in advance and then build your email list. And it's just a much more, in my opinion, laid back approach to growing your business. Because like I've been like on the Instagram story and like I've been doing this for 11 years, right? I've had an online business for 11 years. So I've seen a lot. And like with Snapchat and Instagram stories of like you have to post. I remember when I was using Facebook back when network marketing days, like 2012, 2013, it was post every hour on the hour, Monday through like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I literally did that for years of like, I have to create content to post every hour on the hour. And I'm like, it's just exhausting. And then there's the whole, like, you have to send out, 50 direct messages. Like they tell you 5, but I'm like overachiever. So I'm like, I'll do 50, 10x it. I'll do 50. So like, so do like 50 messages a day. And then, it's just, it's a lot. And so I'm like, how could I create my business and set it up in a way where it doesn't require me trading time for money? I can take time off and not have to stress about things exploding,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, that is huge. And I hope people are listening to us here, like really listening to us, not just listening into, you don't have to, work yourself ragged, because
please don't. Like your kids need you to be there. Like
and there is a way. That's the most important thing, because I think many are thinking, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Is there another way? Well, there is another way, and Rachel's here to tell you. And it works too.
I've seen the lights
at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
I love it. So tell us more how you work with clients then in teaching them Pinterest and beyond.
Yeah, so we have a course called Pin with Purpose. And so that's like the basics of Pinterest marketing. We have a group coaching program called Activate, and that's where we teach a 3-step approach to lead generation and then creating your first passive income product. And then I do more high touch private coaching for other entrepreneurs that want to go like super deep on scaling really quickly.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And we'll be
Yeah.
sure to have your info in the show notes for people to go and connect with you. And obviously, tuning into your podcast, they can learn some
Yeah.
insight there. I would love to hear more about how you got connected with Stu and the different projects that he has, because that's just, curious to me. And I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I actually lived in Kenya in 2008. And so when I heard about Stu and then I saw the nonprofit that he was doing, I totally forget where, maybe it was ClickFunnels.
Hmm.
Like maybe it was a ClickFunnels thing and they were talking about his nonprofit. And I immediately sent him a message on Instagram of like, I immediately connected to you. I lived in Kenya. Like, where's the nonprofit? And we just started chatting back and forth about what he was doing and the school that he was creating over there. And I was like, what can I do to help? So I'm all about like how can you use your business to make a greater impact in the world. So, when we did the smarter income stream, I'm like, hey Stu, can we we're going to sell this and then is there a certain project or something you're working on that we can donate some of the proceeds to that? So that's kind of how we hooked up. And that's just reach out to people on Instagram DM. Like like they're a lot of times they're going to respond and then you can build a relationship with them that way.
Mm-hmm. No, that is great. And I love that you were using one of your events and the one that I participated in to then be engaged with things like that. And so what are some other things? And I think that that's huge too, because lots of people are wanting to make money, create the freedom for their lives, for their families and for their lives. But there's the other side of it, then that you could actually help people beyond your inner circle and the people and the immediate people in your family, friends, or whatever. So I love that you were doing that. And I guess what is some insight that you could give for people that are wanting to create this bigger impact as they have the means to do that?
Start now with what you have. Don't wait until you're a millionaire to give back. Like I remember when I was in grad school, my husband, he was working as a horse trainer and he lost his job. And so then I was like, oh crap, we have like a couple $100 coming in from my network marketing business. And that was it. Instead of, freaking out, I went to Compassion International and we sponsored a baby with compassion. Because one of the things I've learned from Tony Robbins is you have to give beyond scarcity. And you're like, if you're not going to give a dime out of $1, you're never going to give 1 million out of 10 million. So it's like, don't wait until you have what you feel like is enough money to start giving. Just start with what you're at. And the more money you make, the greater impact you can have. And so just start looking around for different ways that you could bless people. Like that to me is one of the best feelings ever. Like we were able to, someone on our team, her laptop wasn't working and completely fried or something. So I gave her $1,000 in Best Buy gift cards as just like a surprise. And she sent me a Vox and she was like, I'm crying. My husband's crying. Like it's just one of those feelings of you get to just step out and be a blessing to other people. And so the more successful you are in your business, the more opportunity you to do those kind of things,
Yeah.
And that's really what it's all about.
It really is. And there's always opportunity if you just look around, like with
Absolutely.
somebody in your team or maybe a client,
Yeah.
right? That uh, something is happening or something about their lives and you can reach out and help. If you just have that little antenna on.
Yeah, I mean, the opportunities are everywhere. Just like think about if you go out to eat, like think about, could I leave an extra generous tip here?
Yeah.
Like just have your eyes open for different ways that you can serve people.
Definitely. And it'll come back to us. Definitely too.
Oh yeah.
I love that. Awesome. Well, are you ready for my rapid fire? I would love to hear your thoughts on what you have based on what I say, and feel free to elaborate if you think of stories, because I know you have many. Feel free to share too. So the first one is notice yourself.
What am I supposed to answer?
What comes to mind?
About myself?
With the phrase, notice yourself.
Notice yourself. What comes to mind to me right now in this moment, because I just had rib surgery 3 weeks ago, is that like I have better posture. And so I'm like noticing of like, I have more energy, I have better posture. And that's like kind of what I'm noticing of like, ooh, my body can do things differently now. And like, what a blessing it is to be able to like take a deep breath and actually like move around a little bit and not be like strapped to the couch and laying down all day. So
Yeah.
those are the
Oh,
things I'm noticing of just like the blessing of being able to move.
oh my gosh, yes. The blessing of our bodies and health.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. That's something we usually take for granted. So
Absolutely. Until you don't have it. So
exactly.
like if you have it, it's a gift.
It is. It really is. The next one is listen to yourself.
What comes up for me is like listen, but also don't believe everything that you're telling yourself because we have so much chatter that goes on in our head and a lot of times it's negative.
Yeah.
And so like you can listen to it, but then question the thoughts that you have of like, is that true? So if you're telling yourself a lie or a story of like, I can't do this, this can't happen for me, like listen to it, but actually start to question those thoughts of like, is that really true?
Yeah.
And if I'm like, just start to be more intentional with your thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The curiosity with the
Mhm.
things that come up for us is super huge because you can gain
Yeah.
some pretty good insight instead of just accepting it as truth, especially the
Yep.
negative stuff too.
Yep.
I think we question the positive
Yeah.
probably more
Yeah.
so than the negative. So let's start
Totally.
doing the opposite and questioning like, is it really true that I am incapable?
Yep.
Yeah, and diving deeper into that and or why am I thinking this too, right?
Mm.
All right, my next one is forgive yourself.
Mm. I would say like just move on quickly because we all make mistakes. And one of the books I'm like, hey, our students need to read this again, Failing Forward by John
Mm,
Maxwell, of like, we all make mistakes, we
yeah,
all mess up, we all fail. And it's just a matter of how quickly can you bounce back from that failure and learn from it. And so we're all going to mess up, we're all going to make mistakes. And so it's just a matter of saying, okay, what did I learn from this? And how can I move on really quickly?
mm-hmm. Love it. Next one is empower yourself.
Ooh, I'm just thinking of my babies as you
Mm,
said that, of like I want them to feel empowered. And I went to my son's open house yesterday and our his teacher had us write a letter to them and like put it in their notebook. And so I was like writing him a letter of like, you get to believe in yourself and trust yourself and know that you're destined for greatness and anything is possible. And so I think it would actually be a good idea, like to empower yourself to write yourself that letter
yeah.
of like what's really possible and what you can achieve from like the
Mm-hmm.
outside perspective, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, and then don't get me started on analogies or lessons that we get just by being moms and
Oh my gosh.
noticing
Oh,
the
yeah.
things we desire for them. And it's like, hey,
Yeah.
but you need to desire that for yourself. That's how they're going to get the benefit from it,
Mm-hmm.
is when you're walking the talk that you're giving them.
Yeah.
Right? How old are your kids?
TJ's 9 and Gabrielle's 2.5.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
little. I love that. So sweet. Cool. And last but not least, transform yourself.
Ooh. Be content with where you're at, but always be focused on growing and asking yourself, like, where's the opportunity for growth in this? And so I this is something like I was actually like thinking about of like I've grown to a certain level and at what point are you content with where you're at but also want more. So
Yeah.
it's like thinking about how can you transform and be surround yourself with other people who are maybe a few steps ahead of you or like just a little bit further along
Yeah.
where you can like they end up rubbing off on you, right? So it's
Yeah.
like they end up having bigger dreams and then like just by proximity you
Mm-hmm.
start to have bigger
Yeah.
dreams and that you don't settle and go back into that comfort zone. So it's like you
Mm-hmm.
transform through community, being
Yeah.
around other people. So like think about how you can up level.
Yeah. Oh, that is so true. And also from a place like with the contentment that you were saying, like of gratitude, because sometimes, especially for the overachievers like you and me, it could be from a beating yourself up point of this is not good
Mhm.
enough. So let me achieve something else, as opposed to I'm super grateful for this, but I can
Yeah.
challenge myself and go a little bit further,
Yeah.
act more people too.
Yeah.
I love that. Awesome. Well, tell us how we can find you, podcast, all the things.
Yeah, so we have the She's Making an Impact podcast. And then if you want to dive into Pinterest, you can jump on our next training if you just go to freepinterestclass.com.
That's amazing. Super straightforward. I will put those in the show notes. Thank you so much, Rachel. This was so good.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.